Alright, this is really good for my ego. Hammers down. This meeting will come to order. Welcome everybody to our Golden Speakers Toastmasters meeting. Today, beautiful day in July. First of all, let's greet our Toastmaster over here. I'm glad all you guys came over. Right nearby the ice cream aisle. We got Coca-Cola for sale. It's a beautiful day.
What is the Toastmasters pledge?
Toastmasters
Mission of our club.
The Toastmasters mission, the club's mission statement.
The club's mission statement, you guys. Our mission is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Okay. Let's introduce our Toastmaster for the evening, Emery Styron.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now I would like to put on the Rick Star addendum to that, which says, and have fun. Right? So, greetings, fellow Toastmasters. I don't believe we have any guests. I'd like to thank the people who have stepped in last minute to fill roles for people who could not be here. So let's start with an introduction of role players. Our timer, Art Atkinson, would you please explain your role?
Good evening. My role as the timer is to help us stay in accordance with our agenda and the times that are allotted for each of the speakers this evening. Part of what my role is to run the timing lights. The timing lights are green, yellow, and red, and for different speeches, the green will go on when the minimum time for the speech has been completed. Yellow will go on as a warning 30 seconds before time is up, and the red will go on when time is up, and after the red goes on, the speaker has 30 seconds to wrap up before being disqualified for his overtime speaking. Table topics are 1 to 2 minute speeches. The green light will turn on at 1 minute, the yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and the red at 2 minutes and remain on until the speaker stops. Prepared speeches are usually 5 to 7 minutes, and I do believe our agenda says tonight's speeches are both 5 to 7 minutes in length. The green light will go on at 5 minutes, yellow at 6, red light at 7 minutes. Evaluations are 3 minutes. The green light will go on at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and the red at 3 minutes and remain on. And I'll give a brief report at the end of the meeting of the speaker's length of speaking.
Thank you, Art. Now, your married tonight is Kashif.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, everyone. My role as a grammarian today is to pay attention to the good use of English while the speakers are speaking and take notice of that. At the end, I will provide a report about the usage. And before that, I would like to introduce the word of the day, which is retrospective. And it means concerned with or related to the past. The example of it would be like the museum is having a retrospective exhibit of the artist's early works. So I would encourage everybody to make use of this word, and I will keep account of that and provide a report in the end. Okay, thank you.
And our counter is Leslie.
The role of the counter is to keep track of extraneous words or verbal crutches such as like, you know, but, tongue clicks, false starts, and so on. The counter will be watching you all very closely and listening.
And you will give a report at the end.
And give a report.
And we'll hear from our general evaluator, Louis Denbaum, back here at his new role. And our hilarious greeter joke master, Will Burns, a little later in the meeting. So move into the prepared speeches portion of the meeting. I'd like to introduce our first evaluator, Frazier, who will be evaluating Jean Symington Craig. So would you please introduce Jean?
Jean has been a Toastmaster since 2006 and is a distinguished Toastmaster. She has served in a variety of officer roles within the Golden Speakers Club, including president. In addition, she serves as club liaison at the Conscious Communicators Toastmaster Club at the Iowa State Penitentiary in Port Madison, where she's also a member. Tonight Jean is doing Project 2, Organize Your Speech. The objectives: organize your speech in the Competent Communicator Manual. And the objectives is to select an appropriate outline which allows listeners to easily follow and understand your speech. Make your message clear with supporting material directly contributing to the message. The appropriate transitions when moving from one idea to another, and create a strong opening and conclusion. So without much more ado, let's warmly welcome Jean.
Do you ever get tired of people telling you that you're beautiful? Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home, isn't that a great twist on a line for dating? Instead of just saying, I think you're pretty, he's saying, isn't it boring to have to deal with it all the time? My story tonight is for romantic men everywhere who are seeking proven strategies for winning at the game of love. It was 1998, Saturday night. Dan and I were sitting on his couch, his arm just draped casually over my shoulders. This was the first time I had been to his house after an evening date. The plot was thickening. I actually was pleased that he asked me that question. It was the perfect question for me. And here is why. I'm going to tell you some background. You see, I have rosacea, which is a progressive skin disease that causes redness and bumps on your face, where it's the most obvious. They don't know what causes it. They don't know how to cure it. But they do know now that it can be often maintained with topical medications. At the time, I didn't trust that regular doctors knew what to do, and I didn't want to be an experiment on a lot of different medications that didn't have any results. So as a result, I spent 5 to 6 years with a worsening face, wondering what the heck is going on, because I'd never had trouble with my skin before. I was miserable. Pretty? Not even close. Finally, a doctor friend of mine talked to his dermatologist friend and got me on a program that was the best regimen for the disease. I educated myself about rosacea, I got my face cleared up, but I knew I wasn't cured because there is no cure. But I was able to maintain with a regular daily focus. Therefore, when Dan, back in the living room, was asking me that question so casually, do you ever get tired of people telling you that you're beautiful? I was able to sincerely say, no, I don't. I was able to reveal to Dan that in fact I truly appreciated being told I was beautiful. I didn't take it for granted at all. Now, by the way, I'm not saying I'm beautiful, but I'm saying that anyone likes to be told that they're beautiful. It's music to the ears. Following Monday, I was in my office at Telegroup, where I worked as Fred Bratson's executive assistant, Fred being the chairman of the company. And I get a call from reception that I have a delivery. Okay, so I walk up. There is a gorgeous bouquet of fragrant pink roses and even more fragrant fuchsia Asian lilies from Fairfield Flowers. But the key was the little card that came with it. It said, "Thinking of you, beautiful." It wasn't signed, but I know who it was from. Talk about an arrow straight to the heart. The following Monday, once again, I was back in my office, and I got a phone call from reception that I have another delivery. This time, it's 3 to 4 radiant red roses with baby's breath and greens. And this time, the little card said, "Have a wonderful day, comma, beautiful." The story doesn't end. Here's the kicker. Every Monday for weeks, turning into months, reception would call me and say, "Your flowers have arrived." The message changed every week, but it always included beautiful as my name. I have a stack of those cards. I save them every week. They were so sweet. And that stack is stored very safely in our house. And I know at any moment I am going to find them. Other women were coming up to me and saying on the slide, "Where did you find him?" Or, "Does he have a brother?" Or, "Wow, what a keeper." Every week, Dan's flowers stayed on the corner of my desk, just gently but persistently reminding me of him and letting me know that he was taking me very seriously. He was slowly, relentlessly winning me over, and I was intrigued, even as I watched it and enjoyed it. After about 2/3 of the way through this period, I said to Dan, frankly and admiringly, "You are waging a flawless campaign." Of course, there were other factors contributing to our relationship. Some of them you know. We dined out, and we often were reading the same books, and he would entertain me in various ways, movies about World War II battles and civilian suffering and other date-appropriate films. However, this ongoing floral campaign And more importantly, what it said about Dan's creativity and determination was high on the list of all-time successful maneuvers. I felt beautiful the entire time in Dan's eyes, and I still do to today. What a gift. In conclusion, I encourage men everywhere to learn from my story. Show the object of your affection that you are willing to work creatively to gain what you seek. Demonstrate that failure is not an option. Victory is just a matter of time, and most importantly, never underestimate the regular application of personalized flower power in crafting a flawless campaign.
In retrospect, I wish I had heard that speech 40 years ago. Mr. Timer, please set aside 2 minutes for us to evaluate the speaker. And we're back. I'd like to now call our second evaluator, Manoli, to introduce Susanna McCann, who will be speaking tonight. Please welcome Manoli.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests at home. Tonight, Susanna McCain will be presenting Project 8 from the Competent Communicators Manual. And the objectives of this speech is to select visual aids that are appropriate for your message and the audience, and to use visual aids correctly with ease and confidence. Susanna McCain has been a resident of Fairfield for more than 30 years and a member of Toastmasters for about a year now. In addition to her career as an architectural designer and consultant, Susanna also gives women's empowerment workshops. In light of the recent movie Wonder Woman, Susanna has developed a one-day Wonder Woman workshop. To introduce the workshop in this talk, Susanna will ensure an invitation to the island of Sierra, where Wonder Woman's community of the Amazon's women lived. The title of Susanna's speech is called The Wisdom of Wonder Woman. Please welcome Susanna McCain.
Well, I might when I'm actually writing on it. Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening, fellow Toastmasters members and viewers at home. Tonight I'll be speaking on The Wisdom of Wonder Woman. How many of you have actually seen the movie? Practically everybody, okay. And so I hope that I'll provide a few layers of insight into this. You'll see how I'm drawing on it during my talk. And I also hope to encourage those who haven't seen it yet to see it. And I won't ruin the plot. Okay. The idea has been brewing for some time that this is such a cultural phenomenon that it would be a wonderful entree to Women's Empowerment Workshop, a one-day workshop that ties into other workshops that I've taught and would be a great introduction. And so now I want to invite the women here, and the rest of you can enjoy just the ideas, to my one-day Wonder Woman workshop. And I'll tell you the points that we'll be covering in the workshop, and what we'll be doing primarily is recreating the culture of that special island where Wonder Woman grew up and got her training. And so the first element will be cultural foundation. Consider what it would be like to grow up in a place where the idea that women should be sort of weak, subservient people never entered anybody's mind. Nobody ever put them down. Nobody ever told them they should defer to other people. Nobody ever said, you can't do this, you can't do that. It was a society where the women, it was an alternative reality in a way. And the movie was a great setup to show the contrast between that culture and the culture of World War I, where the war was taking place, and she eventually entered that. So we will create this culture of support for women. We'll also go into places where our own culture could be disempowering us, and we'll learn techniques for turning these beliefs that may be even unconsciously disempowering us as we reframe and rebuild our cultural foundation. Now, another element here is individual powers. And purpose. Although the Amazons on the island were mainly involved in martial arts training and so forth, there were specialties among the women. Different ones had different special talents, and their training reflected that. And in general, the reason they bothered to do all this training was because they knew that they had a destiny to be prepared. There would be a time when the human world needed them to overcome certain evil influences, especially associated with the god Ares. And so they needed to be prepared to deal with the god of war. And this is why they were so motivated to do day after day that culture of self-development through martial arts. It's useful for us to look to our own purpose and the special powers and talents that we have that can go toward fulfilling that purpose. And so this is another aspect of our day on this Amazon island. That's another aspect of what we'll be learning. A third feature is energy training. Even though we may not be martial arts specialists, there are many hacks, I guess you could say, of the human energy system that can be very useful in getting through life in an empowered way, especially for women. Cultural change does not happen overnight, and we may encounter situations where we're trying to emerge from some cocoon and express our new powers, and then something happens and we get squelched in some way. We need to have ways of restoring our energy and our energetic empowerment. And so even though we won't be doing intensive martial arts training, we will be learning some very powerful energy practices and practices for restoring the integrity of our physical energy system in all kinds of situations. And then fourth, and perhaps most fun, is we will be suiting up. You'll notice that all of these Amazon women had these costumes and so forth, and they had their armor and their various weapons. And Wonder Woman herself, when she engaged in intensive battle, you could say, she shed her conventional clothes and was suited up in her power garment, you could say. And so one of the fun things we'll be doing is creating an outfit that expresses our own particular Wonder Woman qualities. For example, everybody needs a shield. And this one is definitely a work in progress. It's not finished, but it's on its way. And people can put symbols that are meaningful to them, symbols of their gifts and powers, on these shields. Also, everybody needs their weapons. In preparation for doing this project that involved, excuse me, visual aids, I almost bought a $15 plastic sword from Walmart, but I thought, hey, I already have this. But what's the meaning of it? Just by moving through life, doing what one is here to do, purpose and power, there can be an effect in the world, like the effect that the butterfly has when one little flap of the wing could cause some weather event later. Thank you. I hope you can join me for this one-day Wonder Woman workshop.
Thank you, Susanna.
Okay.
Are guys allowed?
Well, we can cook up something for guys.
Oh, okay. Mr. Timer, please set off 2 minutes for us to fill out our comment sheets for Susanna's speech.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Timer, can you tell us which speakers qualify?
Unfortunately, neither speaker.
Okay. That is unfortunate. So we will dispense with the vote for best speaker, but we did hear 2 excellent speeches in any case. So let's give them both another hand. And we'll now move into the evaluation portion of the meeting, and I'd like to call up, fresh from Arizona, our general evaluator, Louis Denbaum.
So Golden Speakers Toastmasters, it's great to be back, the #1 club in Iowa. And this is really, for me, the most powerful part of our meeting. Giving speeches is great, but evaluation is why we're here. We want to get better. And on top of that, evaluations are mini speeches, so we get the best of both worlds in this section of the meeting. So, I'd like to call up our first evaluator, Frazier, who will evaluate Jean.
Yeah, fellow Toastmasters, viewers, and well, we have no visitors today. I was extremely impressed with this speech, how when Dan wooed me, when Dan wooed Jane. So, I think the value of the speech is, I think, was excellent. I think a lot of people would learn from it. although I myself, I don't value looks, right? So I keep away from that, right? So I would say it didn't apply to me up to a point, right? But that is, I think, a little rare. But and she had it was well constructed. The speech was well constructed. The opening was striking with a demonstration, and going and her cards. I think that was bringing the cards, little cards. I think that was a very good. And I like some of the sentences, like she said, slowly, relentlessly winning me over, and flawless, floral campaign. One, in the conclusion, one thing I thought she could probably refer back to the answer of the, do you ever get tired of people calling you beautiful? She could refer back to that and mention something like, still I'm not, still although I'm being called beautiful all the time, I never get tired of that. But all in all, yeah, it was a clear, concise, and very illuminating speech. Thanks.
That was his first evaluation.
That was his first evaluation. All right. Wow. Very good. Wasn't that bad, was it? See? We can all do this. We can all do this evaluation process. Next, I'd like to call Manoli up to evaluate Susanna.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Susanna. Thank you for your wonderful speech. Your speech was mainly focused on, the project was focused on visual aids, and I really liked how you had your whiteboard up and your shield and weapon. And especially I love your outfit because it's red, it's very bold and empowering color, so I like that too. So I just want to go through the objectives of the project and just to read through them. The first point was, were the visual aids appropriate for the speech and message? And yes, because you had a nice shield and you were inspiring us to kind of, be creative in our own lives and have a shield, or it's symbolic of something, greater, but just an idea of what something could be like. Did each visual aid help you understand and remember the speaker's point? I think most of them did. I liked to see for your fourth point, you said suiting up. I like that, and it would be nice to have a bit of an outfit to see that suiting up in armor or whatever you. Yeah. Yeah.
If I had the word, never mind.
Did the speaker use the visual aids smoothly and with confidence? Yes, I do think so, and I liked how you portrayed them to us. How clear was the speaker's purpose? I think it was very clear. You wrote down 4 main points, and I like how you talked a little bit about each point, and it was very intriguing, and I found it exciting to want to learn more about your workshop. And so liked how you organized those points clearly, and you also related those points to the movie. Even though I haven't seen the movie, I feel like I was able to understand at the same time what you were talking about and have an idea of what the movie was like. I like that. Was the speaker's word choice effective and appropriate? Yes, it was. It was an excellent word choice. You clearly demonstrated what the purpose of the speech, and you explained very well what was the mission of the project. Was the speech well researched? I think yes, it was, especially since you do a lot of women's workshop. You have a lot of knowledge in this area, and you were able to bring that out in women. And I like how using the movie to also as a visual aid, it was very clear. What did you like about the speech? I liked a lot of it. I kind of already mentioned most of it, and I really enjoyed how you talked about the individual powers and purpose, and how we, in our lives, even though it's not like we're doing martial arts or something, but we all have unique purposes, and it's nice to learn how to bring those out. And so I would advise anyone interested in going to see Susanna's workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoli. Now, I would like to call up Rick Starr, our table topics master. Is that right? Uh-huh. Oh, who's? Dennis.
Yay!
Come on up. What's the table topics? Take it away.
Table topics today is clearly about summer. I'm sure all of you guys are feeling the beautiful hot air wheezing by as you're driving in or biking in or running. But it looks like all of us are doing all right with it. So we have quite a few different topics here, but we need some volunteers. So who volunteers? Thank you, sir. Volunteering. 1 through 7.
Pick it.
Okay. I'm going to pick right in the middle. Happy medium number 4. A common way to say farewell is take it easy. Year round, but especially during the summer, it's more used, at least from my experience, and it goes along with the theme. How do you interpret the phrase, take it easy? And how do you apply it to your life? How do you take it easy during the summer and relax?
During the summer, like the rest of the year, I don't take it easy. I'm working hard. At my work, we have our busiest event of the year in the summer. I have a roaring, multi-day, perhaps even week-long trip to visit my family in northern Canada. And I'm busy the rest of the time as well, with Toastmasters, with other events, with cooking, with entertaining. I don't have time to breathe. And actually, surprisingly, I haven't been to Toastmasters here in a few weeks, and I'm actually a little nervous right now. It's kind of incredible. I'm kind of actually like loving that. So how would I take it easy right now, and how would I? The first thing I would do is to take a breath. Calm down. It's okay. Summer is a beautiful time. It seems like the day goes on forever. We have so many activities. We can play volleyball. We can go to the outdoor swimming pool, which just opened. We can take a walk with our family, friends, perhaps a beloved pet. There's so many options of things we can do over summer. One of my best memories of summer was going to the waterworks, doing a little swimming back when you could. I think you probably can again now, but I forget. Depending on the year, they would ban it. Going swimming during the day, and then at night sitting out outside of Revelations or 2nd Street, back when 2nd Street had, and just seeing friends walk by, saying, "Hey, how you doing?" They'd come on by, we'd chat for a while. The sun would go down, didn't matter. The weather was still beautiful. Some part of me really longs to go back to those days, the take it easy days. And I hope that I get back there one day, but until then, I hope you all can take it easy for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Will. I definitely agree about walking the beloved pets. And it's always important to enjoy some time swimming if you can, your favorite cafe or restaurant. And when you're busy, I know you have good memories of it, at least in the past. Who's our next volunteer? Raise your What would be your pick? 1 through 7. Only 4's taken.
Okay, I'll take one.
Take number 1.
Yeah.
Fraser, what is your favorite childhood memory of summer? Describe it, and why do you think you remember it so positively, looking back at it right now?
Fellow Toastmasters, my favorite, the thing is, in my childhood, I come from the Caribbean, right? There's summer all year round. Although summer up here is slightly different, I must say, is very different. I mean, in the Caribbean, we have daylight for about 12 hours, probably about 6 to 6, and it doesn't vary by much. Up here, you have daylight from 5 sometimes to 9, 10, 9, incredible. So actually, I am more enchanted with summer up here than down here, because I mean, you wake up with the sun and you can do a whole lot, in your day. I mean, you have to work at 9, so between 5 and 9, that's 4 hours. And then after work between 5 and 9 again, that's another 4 hours. Like you have 2 days in one, So, so it is incredible up there. Anyway, going back to in the Caribbean, I mean, what's favorite thing you do? Yeah, I mean, summer is much shorter. Vacation is much shorter down there than here. I mean, it's not easy to pick a sort of favorite thing. I mean, because as I said, summer was every day down there, right? Every day, so probably going into the river and bathe, in cool, nice running water. That was probably a favorite thing. Thank
But that's definitely making me jealous when I think about our winters here. It'd be nice having a decent daylight throughout the day. I like it. Think about bathing in the river right now. It's nice and warm. Who's our next volunteer? Dan.
About 3.
3. Okay. Some interpret the famous musical masterpiece, Antonio Vivaldi's The Four Seasons, to be symbolic of the stages of our life. At what age do you think the summer of life is, so to speak? And why do you think so, of all the 4 seasons? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. I think the only part of the 4 seasons I've ever listened to much is spring. But I'll take your word for it that it covers everything. It is the 4 seasons ever. A retrospective on an entire life. I suppose that it's spring, summer, fall, winter, if you were going to split up a life like that. So maybe it's from age 25 to age 50 is your summer. In some ways, for a lot of people, that might be the prime of their life. They've done their education, they've gotten their profession, they've formed a family, they're in the prime, you would say, of all those activities that we try to accomplish in the world: profession, family, social interaction. I'm a little bit past summer at this point, and I don't really feel like I'm in winter. So my vote is that we make summer more like the Caribbean. It lasts a long time. And I think it's probably true that, I'm sure it's true, people these days just live a more active, productive life for a longer period. It wasn't so many years ago that somebody in their 60s was starting to be pretty old. And I think in general you could say that that's not really the case anymore. In conclusion, I think that although I have passed the summer any way I could frame it in terms of Vivaldi's 4 seasons, I plan to keep living the summer for as long as I can.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate the way you describe it, that people are living longer and more productive lives than ever today. Something we can all appreciate about the time that we were born and this age that we live in. Who's up next? Art. We have number 2, 5, 6, and 7.
Oh, 5 is a good number.
5. If you could choose anywhere in the world right now for your summer vacation, what is your dream summer vacation spot? If you could pick one. And why would it be that one?
That's a great question, fellow Toastmasters. Where in the world would you go if you could go anywhere for a summer vacation? My dream vacation really could happen any time of the year. But the specific time of the year when I really want to go to the Okavango Delta in South Africa is in flood season. And to be honest with you, I don't remember what part of the northern hemisphere seasons the flood season happens in the Okavango Delta, but it's a unique place on the planet where a river doesn't flow into the ocean, but it flows into a desert and disappears in the sand. The Okavango is a river that has its origins much farther north in the central part of Africa, Congo, or in what's used to be called Rhodesia, and it flows south. It's a large river. It flows into the Kalahari Desert and has a floodplain just like any river has a floodplain. It has small rivulets, and a large area of the Kalahari blossoms into an incredible profusion of life, plant life, and attracts a huge quantity of game. Animals flock to this area for the easy living, which has been memorialized by Lawrence van der Post in his books and by a movie called Animals Are Funny People Too. But going to the Okavango Delta in flood season would be to go to the richest wildlife explosion that one could possibly hope for. Everything that you hear about African wildlife is on display in spades in the Okavango Delta in flood season. And it lasts for a month and a half or two, and then it dries up and the animals go away.
Thanks, Art. That's a new vacation spot I'll have to think about someday, hopefully. That sounds very interesting, seeing all the animals, all the wildlife that can flock to the Okavango Valley. Who would be our next table topics contestant? See a lot of finger pointing, a lot of blame going around right now.
You gotta let him pick.
Nice. Let's see here. Let me double check. Got anything left on there? Yeah, 2, 6, and 7. Which one? 2. In general, what are your favorite types of activities during the summer? If there's some types of seasonal activities that you enjoy, and why do you enjoy them so much that you think so?
Fellow Toastmasters and viewers at home. My favorite activities during summer is to exercise, basically go to gym, and these days I am going regularly to gym. I exercise there, I jog, I run. And why I especially choose summertime for this activity, because I find it hard actually to, especially here in Midwest, because it's new weather for me. I have not seen this much snow in my entire life. So I find it really difficult to wake up in the morning and there is snow everywhere. And I even find it difficult to get out of bed actually and go to office, much less of going to exercise. So so this is the time I have during summer. I try to utilize to maximum and never miss a day. What is the time? Yeah. So other activity I can think of during summer time. Basically, this is all what I do. I exercise, I go to office. I have a very fixed routine, and I think I have to find some more activities. That's it. Thank you.
Discussion. I can definitely relate about the whole work life. During the summer, it can get really busy, and exercise is definitely more motivating in the summer than in the winter, where you're just freezing to get out of bed. I just want to stay inside. I don't want to go anywhere. But if we want, we can push it and do one more table topic, so otherwise we can call it good on that. What do you guys feel like?
Push it.
We're busy. Let's push it. Let's do one more. Last, final round. who will be our final
I
contestants.
will unless Leslie really wants to.
She looks like she.
Battle between these two.
Leslie want to? That's Leslie's eager look?
Yeah.
Leslie's eager look.
Opportunity.
That's why you should do it.
Yeah.
Leslie. 6 or 7?
7.
7. Relating to vacations. Taking trips to bodies of water in general is common practice during summer, as we all know, such as lakes, rivers, oceans, wherever we prefer. Which body of water would you choose to take a trip to, if you can pick any? And why would you pick that one?
Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, bodies of water. I love the look of water in pictures, way back on the beach, but when it comes to getting into the water, I have to say there's a little bit of trepidation. I think it's great running into the surf and then the wave kind of sort of knocks you down and then I just go back to my towel. So I don't know about water. It's beautiful, we need it. I like the saltiness, what it does to your hair. There's this scrunchy stuff they sell in spray cans now to get that faux feeling, but I would rather get it in person. But water, if you've ever been to the ocean, it seems like it's higher than you are. It's a little freaky. So maybe my favorite body of water would be captivated water or captured water, like snow somewhere on a mountain that I could fall into or roll down but not be covered up by and swallowed up by. So maybe Colorado, a frozen body of water there, or the Alps. So yeah, frozen water I think would be my preference, or ice skating perhaps.
Thanks, Leslie. I agree. Climbing in a glacier right now would be pretty fun right now. Some exotic trips. It's a creative way to answer. I like it. Now is the time of truth. We have to check who qualified and who didn't.
All of our tabletop speakers qualified.
Okay, excellent. Well done, everybody. Thank you for your participation.
Those names that we might know.
Yep.
Will, Fraser, Jan, Art, Katya, and Leslie.
Please vote for your favorite table topic speaker. Good. All right, Louis. Now you'll be evaluating the evaluators. Thank you, sir.
But first, we're gonna vote for the best.
Yeah,
Oh,
we have
you're gonna do tabletop.
Yes.
Get up.
Oh, I knew that.
Okay,
So
yay,
Rick
Rick.
Starr will now evaluate our tabletop.
Sorry.
Okay.
2 steps ahead.
So how
Thank you,
much,
Mr. General Evaluator.
much time do you think you want? How much time?
I don't need more time.
Okay.
Don't count those words now. I'll start now. I had to answer a question. In fact, I'll tell you when to start. Halfway done.
He's already got 15, I think he's already 15 seconds in.
Mr. General Evaluator, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow golden speakers. We have 7 speakers. I'll rush through them. Will, Excellent speech. I particularly liked the structure. You took a few seconds to think, as you usually do. That's a good thing. And your speech was divided into three parts. The first part, you told us how busy you were, and your speech patterns reflected that. You were very speedy. Then you said, how do I calm down myself? And you were very calm after you took your breath. And then you reminisced about what you used to do in the past to relax yourself and to take it easy. And you called on all of us to engage in those activities. Well structured, what you could have done a little better. I don't think you greeted the audience, and you could add better stage movement. Frazier, hello. You asked your best childhood memory, and to everyone's surprise, you said you liked summers up here better than you did in the Caribbean. Who would have thought that? Because in the Caribbean, it's always summer, so there's no change. There's no contrast, but here there's longer days. Finally, you grudgingly gave one thing you liked. Oh, I guess I like to swim in the cool rivers, but it's clear where your heart was. You paced a little back and forth. You can watch that. And again, I don't know if you greeted the audience. Dan, 4 seasons, you related that to your life. You, as always, you have a very gentle sense of humor. You good hand gestures, good vocal variety. I noticed that sometimes you were standing at parade rest. I think you could move around the stage a little more instead of standing in that military posture. Art, excellent. You greeted the audience. You repeated the question, which focused on us, the audience's attention on it again. And then you gave us so many facts and so many beautiful images about what your ideal vacation spots should be. I thought it was an excellent, full speech. You tended to station yourself here. Again, a little more stage movement. Kashif, you greeted the audience. You said the favorite thing was the gym. You explained how you did it. You were so vigilant. Again, you had a little pacing back and forth, and you kind of ran out of steam at the end. You were kind of looking for something to say. And Leslie, you said water is lovely from afar, but who actually wants to get in that stuff? And you finally had enough of it, and you said if you had to be with water, you wanted frozen water, where you don't get drowned. It looked like you were thinking as you were speaking, and you probably were, but I'm not sure how to get around that, but that's one thing I noticed. Thank you very much. You can start timing.
All right. So, Mr. Timer, which of our evaluators qualified?
I'd say they all evaluators qualify.
Okay. Is that an affirmative?
That's affirmative.
Okay. Very good. So let's take time now to vote for the best evaluator.
Those are Fraser, Manoli, and Rick.
Fraser, Manoli, and Rick. Time for a little retrospective on the meeting. First, I'd like to talk about what things could help improve the meeting. We started 3 to 4 minutes late. Okay. That's not acceptable for a Toastmaster meeting. We want to start on time. And my suggestion is that even though it is the sergeant at arms' job to get the room set up, that we all take it upon ourselves. Everyone should try and come 5 to 10 minutes early and help. And at the end of the meeting, stay for 5 minutes and help break it down. So if we come on time, if we come early, we can help get the meeting starting on time. Next, one of the things that I contributed to, but so did others, is the flow up here. Okay. So if I'm here, okay, and you're greeting me, or I'm greeting you, you go back that way, not this way. Okay? So that is something that'll help make it smooth and it won't be awkward. And what I should have done is, I should have put a chair right over there for me, because I kept walking back to the second row and having to squeeze in, and it just took time, and I'm trying to take notes because the evaluation is starting. So room flow. Go the other way than the person who's coming up to who you're shaking hands with. Table topics. Okay. The 3 S's of table topics. Say it, stop, and sit down. Okay. We don't have to use the entire 2 minutes. Who was a perfect example here?
Gosh.
Yes. You were done. And the light was green, and you're like trying to think like, well, what else can I say? No, it was perfect at 1 minute. And after that, it starts to lose its power because you don't know what to say. So say it, stop, sit down. You don't have to use the entire 2 minutes. Mr. Table Topics Master. One of my suggestions for you is every single one of your questions ended with, and why? Tell me your favorite this, and why? I'd rather see your question be shorter as a table topics and a little bit more open-ended. We're not trying to test someone on some fact or something like that. We're just trying to give them something to get them to talk. So that's a suggestion for you. And everybody, remember to shake hands with whoever is up here. And remember to clap. When I was here, a year and a half ago, right? We haven't changed that. We clap until the person we're clapping for sits down. So, we're going to clap for a while sometimes. Someone has to walk all the way back. But don't take away the applause from that person. Okay. So let's talk about the evaluators. Rick, for me, you're one of the best table topics evaluators. You have such a great memory of what everyone said. That said, I'd rather see you spend, for some of the people, less time reiterating what they said, because we heard what they said, and give your pluses and minuses. I'd say out of the 7, you did it perfectly for about 5 of the people, but for 2 of the people, maybe you didn't have enough to say, so you repeated what they talked about. But excellent job. Wonderful memory of what people said, especially when there were 7 and you didn't take extra time. So that was incredible evaluation. Okay, Manoli. You read the objectives of the speech. That was great. I always like that because we as the audience need to know what the person is speaking about. You used the manual for her evaluation, which is great. And you did talk about the things that you liked. So you liked the fact that she had the shield. You liked her wording, suiting up. What I'd like to see you do is give some suggestions. Remember I said this is the most important part of the Toastmasters meeting because we want to get better. If we can't give someone suggestions, they can't get better. The other thing is, this is a small point because you did a fairly good job, but it could be better. You were using second person, you, and talking to her. And most of the time you were here. A little bit was over here, but you got to include everyone in the room. This is for everyone, not just for the person you're evaluating. And last but not least, because I'm running out of time, Frazier, you used the manual, which is great for the evaluation. You greeted us. You told us what she liked. I would avoid for you tangents. The one thing that highlighted that is, well, I don't really like beauty in this and that. We don't care because it's not about you. It's about Jean and her speech, and you're also taking away from her speech. You're kind of taking her point and kind of like, well, I don't really care, about it. Her point is beauty's a beautiful thing and use it, man. So you're kind of distracting from her, so I wouldn't do that. So thank you very much. All in all, a good meeting. Great to be back. And I'd like to bring our table topics master back. Yes. Toastmaster. Toastmaster. There we go.
I think we can tell by one of the 3 days. I think we can evaluate. That's what it says, but I was
That's what you just did.
Right.
I was
So I'm used to it.
referring
I got
to
used to
Lewis.
it.
I know.
Bring me back up. Hey! So I've just recently come back from Scottsdale, Arizona, where the club I was in has a totally different format. Anyway, no excuses. I should just follow the agenda.
This is where
Okay,
you grew up.
what's that?
This is where you grew up.
This is where I grew up,
You
and
were
this is where I
raised
will
here, yeah.
go into the winter of my Toastmasters. Yes, that's what I'm doing now. So, timer, Art Atkinson, please give us the times of our speakers, our evaluators, and our table topics.
Okay, our prepared speakers. Jean spoke for 7 minutes, 38 seconds. 8 seconds over. Susanna spoke for 8 minutes and 27 seconds. A full minute over, practically. Speech evaluators. Fraser, 3 minutes, 2 seconds. Minoli, 3 minutes, 17. Rick, table topics evaluation, 3 minutes, 11. Table topic speakers. Will, 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Fraser, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Dan, 2 minutes, 24 seconds. Art, 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Kashif, 1 minute, 32 seconds. Leslie, 1 minute, 40 seconds. And general evaluator Lewis, 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yes.
That is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler. And Mr. Grammarian, Kashif.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to everyone, and there are some phrases which I have noticed, starting with Jean. She used many good phrases. Music to the ears, arrows straight to the heart, waging a flawless campaign, ongoing floral campaign, object of your affection, failure is not an option. So she used many, she did a wonderful job. Then I have Susanna, she used a couple of very good phrases. Layers of insight, idea is growing. Then up to Will, he used roaring, multi-day trip. Dan used summer like the Caribbean. And Art used richest wildlife explosion. And I noticed a few speakers using retrospective, not necessarily from the speech speakers, but from Ambry. Ambry used retrospective, Dan used once, and Louis. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Leslie will give us the counter report.
So starting with Dennis, 1 2 ums. Emery, 2 ahs. Fraser, 2 ahs, 2 ums, 2 so's, 1 false start, and 5 I means. Jean, 1 false start. Susan, 2 so's, 1 and, 1 false start. Lewis, 2 okays. Manoli, 9 ums, 2 you knows. Dennis, 1 ah, or I already did that, sorry. Will, 1 Dan, 1 but. Art, 1 and. Kashif, 3 ahs, 1 1 and. Leslie, 1 ah, 2 so's, and Rick Star, 2 ahs.
Thank you, Leslie. Will Burns, come on up and make us laugh.
Thank you, Lewis. I can't take credit for these. These actually are from Reader's Digest, which provides so much mirth in my own life throughout the year. Poor old fool, thought the well-dressed gentleman as he watched an old man fish in a puddle outside. a pub. So he invited the old man inside for a drink. As they sipped their whiskeys, the gentleman thought he'd humor the old man and ask, "So, how many of them have you caught today?" He turned to the old man and replied, "You're the 8th." "What's a hipster?" asked my 4-year-old cousin. "Someone who will wear something just to look different. They will often buy clothes in thrift shops and wear thick glasses." "Is Grandma a hipster?" he asked. Lewis.
Thank you, Will. Good clapping, good clapping. All right. And now it's my pleasure to bring Emery back up, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lewis.
At last, we are now to the awards portion of our meeting. But before we do that, I'd like to issue 2 ribbons. One to Jean, who's just starting out and has won her Competent Communicator number 2. And Susanna, get comfortable with visual aids. And now for our prestigious awards. Drum roll, please. Best table topic. Will Word. Yay! You have to imagine it says table topics on there, Will. And best evaluator. Rick Starr. Okay, Lewis is going to whip us into shape. I'd like to turn the meeting now back over to our president, Dennis Gomez.
Before we adjourn the meeting, I would like to have one of the 5 officers who did attend this weekend to briefly just talk about what they did. This Saturday, basically, there was a meeting and big training session for officers in Cedar Rapids. So, which of you would like to talk about for a minute? So everybody's in the loop.
Well, I was there, but I wasn't an officer, so I'll talk about it. Twice a year, the the division offers officers training. It's very useful, very helpful. This was different in that it was held in the afternoon in Cedar Rapids. Usually it's from about 8:30 till 12. This was from 12:30 till 5:30. So one comment talking to the fellow officers here, or the officers here, was that it was a little on the long side. Having said that, there was a lot of really good stuff in there. We had 3 speakers from 3 different divisions, 3 different districts who were going to the international competition. Corey May was one of them, and there was one from Wisconsin and one from Illinois. And these speakers were good. They were very, very good. So we got to hear 3 out of the 100 speakers who are going to be speaking at the international competition in Vancouver. So that was very exciting. We did have officers training in terms of a panel discussion, and we had some other good sessions. So I found it very interesting, very useful. Every time I go to them, I find them very useful. And aside from it being a little on the long side, I thought it was a very, very good meeting. Thank you.
And on that note,
You said you had 5 officers who attended?
Yeah.
That's actually quite exceptional, because usually, in years past, we were trying to rank people.
Yeah.
Is there any way those 5 could stand and be recognized by the club for their attendance? So, thanks so much.
Thank you for all who attended. I had an excuse with the car breaking down and I skipped out on the concert. Next time I'll arrange carpools more carefully ahead of time. So you guys all know, of course, next time in meeting. Okay. The next time for our meeting is going to be, of course, next Tuesday right here, 7:40 p.m. And Jean? You
I
guys-
just had a request. If you give me your little sheet, which I'm really hoping you will, if you could just jot your name on it so I can be thinking of kind thoughts or otherwise direction. No, I'm just kidding. No, I really, it just helps for me to link it up. So we should always be doing that with our evaluations forms, is just jot down the name. Sometimes the person may want to talk to you afterwards and ask some questions.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, to have some more reinforcement, more specific parts on our eval. Is there any more business anybody has to bring up? On that note, then I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
Thank you, Louis. Meeting adjourned.